If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons.
Chapter 36 to 42. Unfortunately, Goku and Gohan was not in the mood to chat with Frieza and continued dashing toward Frieza. While Piccolo and Raditz was not the type of people to disclose important information such as the Dragon Balls. Gohan's ki increased by so much, but unfortunately, he did not master Kaioken, and no matter how high his ki was raised, it could not beat Goku's ki when he activated 20x Kaioken. Goku arrived first and threw a punch at Frieza's head, but it was dodged by Frieza swinging his head to the side. Frieza followed up with a kick to Goku's chin, sending him flying upward. "No matter, you'll be the next." Frieza sneered and charged a half-meter wide pink ki ball in his right palm and shot it at Goku. The pink ki ball crashed into Goku and exploded. Gray smoke filled the area Goku stood. "Dad!" Gohan stopped in his tracks and stared into the gray smoke worriedly. "You're next." Frieza sneered and appeared in front of Gohan. "Masenk, ugh." Before Gohan managed to launch his attack, Frieza had kneed Gohan in the gut, interrupting his attack. "Gohan! Get out of there!" Goku's voice came from Piccolo's side. He had actually teleported away just as the pink ki ball exploded. "What?" Frieza turned his head in surprise upon hearing Goku's voice. "That sneaky monkey. How did he get there?" Frieza looked at Goku, who stood far away at the sideline of the battlefield, a distance even Frieza could not cover in such a short amount of time. "Got it, Dad." Gohan quickly turned around and dashed away. "Where do you think you're going?" Frieza disappeared from his position and appeared in front of Gohan's path, blocking his retreat. Frieza pointed his finger and a pink finger beam penetrated Gohan's left shoulder. "Aw!" Gohan grunted in pain with his eyes squinting. "Die!" Frieza sneered and pointed his finger toward Gohan's head. "Gohan!" Piccolo and Goku prepared to teleport while yelling in despair. Bang! Raditz appeared right next to Frieza and sent a fly kick to his head. Frieza was sent hurtling away. "Goku! Prepare the spirit bomb!" Raditz shouted. "Got it!" Goku took a deep breath and put his arms up with his palms facing the sky. "Everyone! Please share some of your energy," Goku asked. "Let's see if we can use numbers to bully and kill Frieza." Raditz mumbled in excitement. None of them could transform into a Super Saiyan. And none of them was a match to Frieza, but what if they teamed up? After Raditz, Goku and Gohan had experienced a Zenkai, they were even stronger now. "That little Namekian healed you, right?" Frieza said hatefully. "That's right, but you won't have the chance to kill him anymore," Raditz said. Dent had already been relocated to Earth after all. Raditz and Frieza sent a flurry of kicks and punched at each other. Even though Frieza could only use his right hand, 20x Kaioken wasn't enough and soon Raditz was sent flying away. Damn it! 30x Kaioken. Although Raditz could keep up 30x Kaioken longer than Goku, it would still damage his body over time. Bang! 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 Flurries of kicks and punches were sent from both sides. But they were fighting equally, both sides parried each other's attack with their own. Each time their fists or knee hit the other's fist or knee, a shockwave exploded out and shook the air and clouds. Hee. Raditz grinned. He was able to barely fight equally against Frieza now with 30x Kaioken. Even though it was only with Frieza having one hand handicap. This still showed just how much his power had increased from his recent Zenkai. After fighting for a few minutes, Frieza turned madder the longer they fought. Damn Saiyan! How is this possible? How can you match me, Frieza? Don't tell me. You've actually become a Super Saiyan as told by the legend? Frieza started getting nervous. Raditz had finally become a threat to him. Even though they had fought for a few minutes and none of their quick and lightning-fast attacks connected. At most, they would brush past each other and only bruise the other's skin a bit. Thus, even though they were covered in blood, they did not receive much damage from each other's attacks at all. But Raditz had actually taken considerable damage from the prolonged usage of 30x Kaioken. Ha! Ha! Raditz started panting, his stamina running low. Although the Zenkai had given him an overall boost in power, his physical strength did not have much of an improvement, as such the 30x Kaioken was still a huge burden for Raditz. I now finally know why they always hand the senzu beans to a non-participant. Raditz cursed in his mind. He had naturally brought with him the senzu bean bag with 11 senzu beans left. But even though his training GI clothes were durable, the battle with Frisia was way too high level. His durable GI clothes had long been turned into rags with numerous holes, and the senzu bag had unknowingly dropped somewhere in this gigantic battlefield. It could even have dropped into the endless ocean. Raditz was getting exhausted and quickly switched to 20x Kaioken and started pulling away from Frisia. Ho ho ho. You look tired. Frisia smiled. He finally saw his chance to kill Raditz. Frisia sent a barrage of ki blasts at Raditz. Bang! 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 Raditz's speed had lowered considerably and was unable to dodge the endless waves of ki blasts. He could only exhaust his own ki and send a barrage of ki blasts to detonate Frisia's ki blasts before they reached him. Numerous explosions sounded from the endless barrages of ki blasts exploding non-stop. Goku! Hurry up! Raditz's stamina is dropping. Piccolo urged Goku while looking at the gigantic sphere in the planet's atmosphere almost 50 meters wide. It's not yet ready. I need more time. Goku said. Gray smoke filled the area Raditz stood. Even though he could not see anything, he could still lock onto the ki blasts with his ki sense and detonate them before they reached him. Die! Frisia smiled sinisterly seeing Raditz blinded by the gray smoke. He conjured a pink destructo disc and threw it into the gray smoke. Oh no! Raditz! Dodge the destructo disc! Piccolo yelled in alarm. If the disc hits him, Raditz would be cut in half. Oh shit! Raditz remembered Frisia's pink destructo discs from the anime and panicky teleported over to Frisia. Bang! Raditz sent Frisia flying with a surprise attack but soon saw the pink destructo disc fly toward him as if it had a mind of its own. F***ck it's too fast. Raditz cursed as he saw the disc close the distance to him in almost an instant. Even Super Saiyan Goku had needed to run at full speed to keep a distance away from the discs. Block it! 40x Kaioken. Raditz put all his energy into the Kaioken and shot out a ki wave containing all his ki. Instead of shooting a Kamehameha only to have it cleaved in two, the ki wave was very destructive. Once the ki wave touched the pink disc, it exploded. But the distance was just too close and the gigantic explosion engulfed Raditz. Raditz couldn't care less and had put everything into that ki wave. Rather than get cleaved in half, he would rather get engulfed in his own attack. After the explosion subsided and the gray smoke dispersed, Raditz could be seen on his knees with his arms propping him up from lying on the ground. Raditz was in a really bad shape right now. His body had been ravaged from both inside and outside. The 40x Kaioken was beyond his ability and had badly damaged his insides, especially since his body was already damaged from the prolonged use of 30x Kaioken. Then the explosion blasted his body hard on the outside. Uncle Raditz. Gohan flew toward Raditz. You should be called a cockroach, you keep escaping death time and time again. Frisia cursed Raditz. Even after putting in so much effort, Raditz was yet still alive. Stop! Don't you dare coming closer. Gohan spread out his arms and blocked Raditz from Frisia. You insects keep annoying me to no ends. Frisia raged. He kept getting disrupted whenever he was about to kill someone. It's ready. Goku yelled. Quick! Throw it now! Piccolo yelled. Goku quickly made a throwing motion toward Frisia. I've had enough. It all ends now. I hope you all enjoy sharing your fate with this planet. Frisia was really mad. He had fought so long and sustained so many injuries, yet he only managed to kill one insect, Yamcha. Frisia raised his finger and charged a death ball. A black ki ball with numerous pink lighting arcs quickly grew from the size of a ping-pong ball to a volleyball. Suddenly the planet shook. Frisia turned his head up in shock. What? Such a big energy ball. Damn it. Frisia cursed. He disregarded his badly injured left arm and pushed out both his arms to resist the gigantic over 50 meters wide spirit bomb falling down on him. Hold on to me. Piccolo suddenly appeared next to Raditz and Gohan. He grabbed Raditz and yelled for Gohan to grab him. A moment later, the trio appeared next to Goku. Get down. Goku yelled. Everyone complied and laid down. This is nothing. Ah. Ah. Frisia pushed against the spirit bomb, but ended up being pushed down. Soon, the spirit bomb evaporated his badly mangled left hand and continued upward until half his lower arm, where his arm was gouged out by Raditz's special beam cannon from earlier, was swallowed by the spirit bomb. All that was left was a stump on his left lower arm. With only one arm left, Frisia couldn't even push the gigantic spirit bomb and ended up being pushed down into the ocean by the gigantic spirit bomb. As if an atomic bomb had detonated, a white flash blinded everyone's eyes. Once the white light disappeared, they could only see a giant bottomless pit over 100 meters wide below the ocean. The water surged and tried to fill up the pit. Goku carried Raditz and floated in midair. Piccolo and Gohan were also floating nearby. Everyone smiled and landed on a small piece of land a few meters wide. The original battlefield had been completely destroyed, the giant bottomless pit and the endless ocean replaced it. Ha ha ha. We did it. We defeated Frisia. Gohan cheered. Shall we go home? Goku asked and prepared to teleport everyone back to Earth. Don't forget that Super Saiyan boy. Piccolo reminded Goku of Trunks, who were nowhere to be seen, but as he had said before, he was likely on his way over. @ and hashtag. My senzu beans. Raditz stared blankly at where the former battlefield had been. The land was gone. How was he supposed to find his senzu beans now? Dive into the endlessly wide ocean? Don't celebrate too early. Frisia might not be dead. Raditz reminded. He was pretty sure Frisia would survive the spirit bomb, since that's what the Frisia in the original storyline did. What? Even such an incredible spirit bomb can't kill Frisia? Piccolo was shocked. What do we do then? I don't think I can muster enough strength to fight Frisia. Big brother, you still got the senzu beans? Goku asked. No. The senzu beans fell out when I was battling Frisia earlier. And now? Raditz's mouth twitched and gestured Goku to look at the former battlefield. The land had disappeared now. Piccolo, can you go get some senzu beans from Korin? Raditz asked. I've used up too much of my ki. I won't be able to teleport to such a large distance. Piccolo shook his head. He had already teleported quite a few times already. Even though the distance wasn't too far, it still took a lot of ki from him. Goku, can you? Raditz turned his head and asked Goku. Yeah, I got enough ki to reach King Kai's place, then to Earth. I'll go now. Goku nodded and teleported away. Ah. Actually, it would be safer if we all went to King Kai first. Raditz's mouth twitched. Goku had already left before he could start his second sentence. Although King Kai could also heal, his healing ability was inferior to Den's. King Kai could heal but not restore their energy. At most he was able to transfer his own ki to them, but King Kai was really weak. His ki would not even be enough to fill even a tenth of anyone present here. I hope Trunks arrives soon. Raditz sighed inwardly. Although the fight with Frisia had felt long, it hadn't even been an hour from start until now. It had only been less than 10 minutes since the Namekian Shinran, Purunga, had been summoned. While they were hopeful, the luck was not on their side. Frisia appeared sooner than they wanted. Frisia was not in good shape. He was bleeding from his left arm stump and tail stump, which the spirit bomb had evaporated. Frisia. Piccolo turned his head and saw Frisia. His sharp hearing had picked up Frisia's movements first. Even I thought I would die from that. The might Frisia nearly died. Frisia had a furious look. He pointed his finger at Raditz. Raditz. Piccolo pushed away Raditz, who was so weak he could not even fly. No sooner, a pink finger beam shot out from Frisia's finger and pierced through Piccolo's chest. Ah! Piccolo fell down on the ground. Piccolo. Raditz had never expected Piccolo would sacrifice himself to save him. Piccolo. Uncle Piccolo. Gohan with tears in his eyes shook Piccolo's body. There is also this bug. Frisia pointed his finger at Gohan. These people had constantly hindered him from killing Raditz, so he decided to get rid of them first before he took care of Raditz. Gohan. With great difficulty, Piccolo rolled over with his body, pushed down Gohan to the ground and shielded him with his own body. The finger beam aimed at Gohan pierced through and bore another hole in Piccolo's chest. It missed Gohan's head by a few inches. Yua. This time the finger beam also bore through Piccolo's heart. Purple blood splattered on Gohan's shocked face. Piccolo. Uncle Piccolo, why you? Gohan asked in shock. Gohan, run. Goku will be here in any minute. Just hide for a moment. Piccolo said weakly. His pulse was slowing down now that his heart was pierced. Uncle Piccolo. Gohan cried. The past few months we spent together was the happiest time for me. Gohan, don't die. Piccolo said with a gentle smile, with tears in his eyes. It's you again. Filthy Namekian, you keep interfering with me. Frieza raged. Since you want to die so badly, I'll kill you first. Filthy Namekian. Frieza made a grabbing motion at Piccolo and pulled his hand up. Piccolo was raised into the sky just like Frieza pulled up Yamcha earlier. Gohan. Run. Piccolo shouted. No. Stop. Stop it. Gohan cried out in despair. Frieza intended to kill Piccolo the same way he had killed Yamcha earlier. Die. Frieza sneered and paid no heed to Gohan's demand and clenched his fist. Boom. Gray smoke engulfed Piccolo in the explosion. After the gray smoke dispersed, only dust fell down from Piccolo's earlier position. Piccolo's body was gone. Piccolo. Raditz clenched his fists and gnashed his teeth. Piccolo had died to save him and Gohan. Uncle Piccolo. Gohan screamed. Aawa. With tears dripping down his face, Gohan cried out in grief. A huge surge of ki blasted out. The ground where Gohan stood was carved out into a crater. Gohan's ki was increasing rapidly. Clouds gathered above and thunder struck the ground. Tiny pebbles were rocking back and forth. Frieza. I won't forgive you. Gohan jerked his head to Frieza and roared. A golden aura wrapped around Gohan's body. His hair was pulled up and released down, then pulled up again and again. A few seconds later, his hair stayed upward. Slowly, his black hair was replaced by a golden blonde color and his pupils turned blue. The pebbles that were rocking back and forth were slowly lifted above the ground. Tiny dust particles also followed. Gohan's muscles bulged and increased by 20% in muscle mass. His height grew by 2 centimeters. This feeling. I've transformed into a Super Saiyan. Gohan looked at his hands and clenched them. Feeling the incredible amount of power coursing through his body. What kind of change is that? Saiyans are only supposed to be able to transform into great apes. Frieza looked at Gohan's transformation in shock. If only he could sense Gohan's ki, he would know that Gohan was no longer inferior to Frieza in power. Frieza. I'll make you pay. Gohan said in a calm yet anger-filled voice. He started walking toward Frieza step by step. A mere bug, how will you make me pay? Frieza sneered and fired a finger beam at Gohan. Gohan merely waved his right palm and deflected the finger beam. What? Frieza could not believe that the weak bug he had been bullying earlier could so simply deflect his attack. Die. Frieza fired dozens of finger beams at Gohan this time. It won't work. Gohan calmly waved his right palm around and deflected all the finger beams. The dozens of finger beams scattered in the distance and small explosions sounded one after another. Impossible. How can this runt suddenly gain such immense power? Frieza said in disbelief. Gohan walked step by step and ignored Frieza's shock. Soon, he stood right in front of Frieza, facing him face to face. I won't believe it. Frieza shouted angrily and punched at Gohan. I'll destroy you. Gohan said. His right hand grabbed Frieza's fist and then he kicked Frieza in the gut. Ugh. Frieza grunted and pulled his fist back. But Gohan held a firm grip over his fist. The two pulled back and forth in a stalemate. Ack. Frieza grunted, saliva splattered from his lips. Gohan kicked Frieza in the gut again. Damn you. Frieza kicked back. Bang. Gohan raised his knee and blocked the kick. Gohan's left shoulder had been hit by Frieza's death beam earlier, his left could therefore not muster much strength. But Frieza was in a worse state, half his left forearm was gone, leaving only a stump. The same went for Frieza's tail. With his right hand occupied, Gohan punched Frieza in the face with his left weaker arm. Bang! 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 Gohan punched Frieza in the face again and again with his left arm. But Frieza only had one arm, could only watch as he got punched in the face time and time again. Cough! Curse you! Frieza cursed. Despite floating in the air and kicking Gohan with both his legs, Gohan managed to parry and block all his kicks. Bang! Left with no other ways to counterattack, Frieza headbutted Gohan in the face. Ack! Gohan grunted, blood dripped from his nose. Death cannon! Frieza took the opportunity to pull away from Gohan and shot out a half-meter wide pink ki ball at Gohan. Gohan kicked away the ki ball, it flew far away and a thunderous explosion shook the ground and sky. Ka, mi, ha, mi. Che. Gohan returned the favor by sending a Kamehameha to Frieza. Aya. Frieza could only receive the Kamehameha with one arm. Even though Gohan and Frieza were equal in power, Frieza only able to output ki with one arm as opposed to Gohan who was powering the Kamehameha with both his arms. Frieza was being overwhelmed by the Kamehameha slowly but surely. The Kamehameha swallowed Frieza. After the glaring blue light that overshadowed the world dispersed, a half-dying Frieza fell to the ground. The Kamehameha had evaporated Frieza's lower body, leaving only his upper body and right arm left. Even his left arm and shoulder stump had been completely evaporated. P please. H help me. Frieza's ki had dropped to the bottom. Did you show any mercy to Mr. Yamcha? Or Uncle Piccolo? How many people have you killed as they begged for their lives? How dare you ask for mercy? Gohan said angrily. P please help me. Frieza said weakly. I will never forgive you. You don't deserve any mercy. Gohan blasted Frieza with a ki wave. The ki wave did not explode but rather evaporated everything in its path. Once the ki wave settled, a huge gully dozens of meters long was all that remained. Frieza had been directly evaporated into dust. Ha ha ha. Gohan, you did it. Raditz had wanted to warn Gohan to not show any mercy. But Gohan did much better than Goku and knew when to show mercy. But Uncle Piccolo and Mr. Yamcha died. Gohan said sadly. Don't worry, we can use the Namekian Dragon Balls to wish them back to life. Raditz consoled. Gohan nodded and turned his head and looked at the sky. A golden dot appeared in the distance and grew in size rapidly. Trunks in his Super Saiyan transformation landed in front of the duo. Where are the others? Where is Frieza? Trunks asked in confusion. Uncle Piccolo died saving me. And Mr. Yamcha was also killed by Frieza. But I killed Frieza. I avenged them. Gohan said. Ah. Gohan. You have transformed into a Super Saiyan. As expected of Gohan. Trunks was shocked but looked at Gohan with respect. Seemingly reminiscing the Gohan from the future that was his teacher. Yes. When Uncle Piccolo died. I became so angry I transformed. Gohan nodded sadly. After killing Frieza, all the rage left him, and only the sadness remained. The transformation turned unstable and after the golden aura flickered unstably and disappeared, Gohan reverted back to his normal state. His golden blonde hair turned black again. I wonder if I was close to transforming as well. If I wasn't this banged up, Raditz smiled wryly. His whole body was hurting and he wasn't able to use any ki, he could barely even move right now. When Piccolo had pushed him away and taken the hit for him, Raditz's heart had felt warmth. The three people Raditz had spent the most time with and felt closest with in this world were precisely Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo. When he helplessly watched Piccolo's heart get pierced, pulled into the sky and blasted into oblivion. Raditz was so angry and wanted to just rush up and tear Frieza apart. Maybe due to the future Gohan being his teacher. Trunks told his name to Gohan and Raditz but had them both promise not to tell anyone else. Swish! Goku suddenly appeared. Oh! Trunks, you're here. And where is Piccolo? Goku asked in surprise after looking around. Frieza came back. Piccolo died protecting us. Raditz clenched his fists with great difficulty. Oh, right. Big brother, here is a senzu bean. Goku upon seeing Raditz's difficulty in moving even his arm, quickly put a senzu bean in Raditz's mouth. Thanks. Raditz ate the senzu bean and recovered. So, what happened to Frieza? Did Trunks kill him? Goku asked in curiosity. No. It was Gohan. After transforming into a Super Saiyan. He killed Frieza. Raditz explained. What? Gohan, you managed to transform into a Super Saiyan? That's amazing. You gotta show it to me later. Goku said excitedly. The four of them teleported over to King Kai's planet. Ahahaha. I knew you could do it. Gohan. Good job. You have now become the strongest fighter in the universe. As expected of someone I taught. King Kai warmly welcomed them and even gave Gohan a big hug and gave Gohan plenty of praises before getting proud of himself. Uncle Piccolo and Mr. Yamcha aren't here? Gohan asked. No, unfortunately, there is no guardian on planet Namek to pick up their spirits. Piccolo's and Yamcha's spirit will have to first queue up and go through a check-in station governing the area covering planet Namek and get judged. Don't worry, I'm King Kai after all. I've already sent in a request for Piccolo and Yamcha to have their bodies fixed and sent to my planet. King Kai patted his chest in assurance. Thank you, King Kai. Gohan's mood turned better after hearing that. After Raditz asked to have his clothes fixed, they returned back to Earth. They met up with the rest at Bulma's house. Everyone had gone to Bulma's house after being relocated to Earth. Bulma also generously invited the Namekians to stay over at her house. Once everyone heard that Gohan had transformed into a Super Saiyan and killed Frieza, everyone except a sullen Vegeta cheered happily. The Namekians were really happy that Frieza was killed and had avenged the dead Namekians. Raditz and the team learned that since they only used one wish, they only needed to wait for 43 days before they could summon Porunga and make the other 2 wishes. The Namekians were really friendly and kind. They were willing to stay another 130 after they helped Raditz and their friends to revive before wishing for them to return back to planet Namek and then another wish to restore the planet back to its former state. Everyone decided to meet up again at Bulma's house in 43 days to use the Namekian Dragon Balls to wish Piccolo and Yamcha back to life. And since Piccolo can use instant transmission, he could bring Yamcha with him and teleport back to Earth on his own once he is revived. Everyone said goodbye and went their own ways. Trunks said goodbye and promised to come back in 3 years. Goku and Gohan flew home. Raditz decided to stay over and replenish his equipment. On this trip to planet Namek, not only did he lose his senzu beans, but he also lost his capsules. Raditz felt an especially big heartache from losing 11 senzu beans. So many senzu beans had been wasted. Raditz invited Nappa to join his side. Nappa hesitated but still remained loyal to Vegeta and shook his head. As for Vegeta, just seeing the angry and hostile gaze was enough for Raditz to know better than invite Vegeta. Raditz took the only spaceship left, the last 2 gravity chambers, and restocked his food rations. Since the scouter had practically lost its use, Raditz asked Bulma to build a stationary machine to scan others' battle power instead. Bulma also gave 6 sets of her specially made adult-sized ultra-stretchable training GI clothes to Raditz. Raditz waved goodbye to Bulma and paid a visit to Korin and grabbed the last 5 senzu beans. Ah! I forgot to grab Frieza's spaceship. Raditz patted his forehead. Frieza's spaceship contained the most advanced technology of Frieza Force. The ship also had many rejuvenation tanks which Raditz was very interested in. Since there was no one staying on planet Namek, Raditz would not be able to lock onto anyone's ki to teleport over. As for the few rare animals living on planet Namek, Raditz doubted he would be able to sense their faint and non-existent ki. Raditz threw out the spaceship capsule, boarded it and flew toward planet Namek. Luckily it would only take him 5 days to travel to planet Namek. Vegeta wasn't dumb and could figure out that Raditz only became stronger after arriving on Earth. Not to mention all the fighters from Earth were stronger than him and Nappa. Although he did not know about the Earthlings, having seen Tien Shinhan's Kikaho slam Frieza in his final form into the triangle-shaped hole again and again, he did not dare to underestimate the Earthlings. There must be some secret on Earth to Raditz's improvement. Vegeta muttered. Bulma was pissed by Vegeta's proud, arrogant and degrading tone. Especially that he kept calling her woman. But she was very proud of her friend's strength and did not mind showing off in front of Vegeta. Thanks to Bulma's big mouth, Vegeta learned many things. That the Earthlings were capable of sensing ki and controlling their ki. This made it difficult for him to identify whether someone was actually strong or weak. For some time, Vegeta had been wary of every single human he met. Despite his scouter giving a reading below 100 battle power. Earth's martial art, ki sense, ki control, and gravity training. Of course, gravity training will benefit us Scions immensely. To think a backward planet could actually invent a gravity simulation machine. Vegeta muttered. Vegeta had learned from Bulma that Kami and Master Roshi could teach him martial arts and learn ki sense and ki control. Since Piccolo died, Kami was naturally also dead, leaving only Master Roshi. But with Vegeta's pride, he was naturally not willing to bow his head and beg an Earthling to teach him. Instead, he planned to fight one of the weaker Earthlings and with his Scion talent learn it by getting hurt by Earth's martial art to let his body absorb all the experiences. I'll start with gravity training then. Vegeta decided to wait until the Earthlings gather at Bulma's house after 43 days had passed and then choose the weaker ones to fight with. What? Raditz took all the gravity machines. Vegeta yelled. You better make another one quickly. Or I'll tear you apart. Vegeta threatened Dr. Brief. Well, it will take some time. I'll let you know when it's ready. Do you want a spaceship or a gravity chamber? Dr. Brief puffed his cigarette nonchalantly. Whichever is faster. Vegeta demanded and left. It depends on the decoration. Do you want a disco hall? Dr. Brief blabbered alone. Raditz arrived on planet Namek and quickly found Frisia's spaceship. There were some Frisia henchmen left on the ship. They were calmly waiting for Frisia to return. Never in their wildest dreams had they imagined that Frisia was already dead. Raditz made short work of all of Frisia's men on the ship and set it to fly to Earth. The spaceship was too big for Raditz to teleport it back with. His ki wasn't enough to support the gigantic disc-shaped spaceship. Maybe if he could transform into a Super Saiyan would be able to. Frisia's spaceship was slower than his and would require 2 weeks to fly to Earth. Luckily it got autopilot. Raditz simply let it fly unmanned and stayed on planet Namek. Time to train in transforming into a Super Saiyan. Raditz said excitedly. He now had so many experiences and memories he could make use to draw out his anger. Raditz spread out his legs to a shoulder-width distance and took a deep breath. Raditz replayed his memories when he got beaten up and toyed by Frisia. Feeling his anger rise, he continued replaying other memories, when Piccolo pushed him away and got hit by Frisia's death beam in the chest, when he saved Gohan and got his heart pierced by another death beam. When Frisia pulled Piccolo into the air and clenched his fist, exploding Piccolo into dust. Since Piccolo was still dead, coupled with him still being in planet Namek and seeing the environment, the memories replayed in his mind felt all the more real as if it had just happened. Awa. Feeling the rush of anger come, Raditz let his emotions take control of his body. Raditz's muscles were bulging, a golden aura wrapped around his body and flickered unstably. His ki was increasing rapidly. His long hair was shaking up and down. Come on. Just a bit more. Raditz imagined Gohan getting toyed around and killed by Frisia. Boom. A shockwave blasted out with Raditz in the center, dust and pebbles were repelled. The golden aura shook violently and rapidly like a candlelight about to be blown out. The ground under Raditz's feet caved in like a crater. Haaweawa. Raditz let out all his energy to push the transformation further. The golden aura gradually dispersed. Raditz's ki was rapidly decreasing. Raditz fell down on his hands and knees and panted profusely, beads of sweat dripping from his face down to the ground. South close. Raditz muttered in disappointment. He felt like he had almost grasped it as if his hand was just a few centimeters away from the door handle. He just needed to grab the door handle and jerk open the door. Raditz spent 3 days trying to transform into a Super Saiyan. Damn it. Why? Raditz punched the ground in anger. Boom. A small crater formed from Raditz's punch. I'm so close. Since I can transform into a pseudo Super Saiyan, I just need a bit more cells. Raditz decided to focus on gravity training. Raditz tidied up his clothes and teleported back to Earth via King Kai's planet. Raditz first paid a visit to Goku's home and gave Gohan a gravity chamber and urged him to train his body more and also to get more used to transform into a Super Saiyan. Then Raditz sensed for Tien Shinhan's ki and teleported to him. After a discussion, Tien Shinhan was happy to open a martial arts school and named it Tienshin Style Dojo. Raditz helped Tien Shinhan and Kaiatsu in building the school in the mountains. Raditz was so poor, he didn't even have a single cent. Tien Shinhan and Kaiatsu didn't have a job, so no one could afford to hire workers to build the school. But being as strong as they were, it was a piece of cake to cut some trees and build a big building themselves. Kaiatsu was skilled in telekinesis. Raditz and Tien Shinhan used their ki to cut numerous trees and split them into planks. Then using ki to levitate the planks, they easily moved all the building materials over. Raditz and Tien Shinhan knew clone techniques and made many clones to help build the house and hammer nails. Since battle power wasn't important, they each made over 10 clones each and managed to build the school in 3 days. It's finished. Raditz smiled. Thanks for the help, Raditz. Tien Shinhan thanked. No worries, work hard and recruit many students. The androids may be our only enemies now. But there is no telling what might come in the future. It's your duty to spread the knowledge of martial arts to the people. Let the people safeguard their own lives. We can't always save them, neither are we able to save everyone. Raditz said solemnly. Yes. I will do my best to spread the knowledge of martial arts to the people. I'll also make sure only those with goodwill will learn martial arts. Tien Shinhan seemed to recall his old school, the Crane School. Many of the students were evil and even his former master's brother was an evil assassin. After Raditz gave the remaining gravity chamber to Tien Shinhan and urged him to train his body more and at least master 100x gravity, he left. Good luck. I'll see you in 3 years. Raditz said his goodbye. See you in 3 years. Tien Shinhan and Kaiatsu waved goodbye. The gravity chamber was naturally for Tien Shinhan to become even stronger. Now that he had mastered Kaioken, if he can get used to 100x gravity, he would be able to increase the output of Kaioken. After Raditz saw Tien Shinhan's Kikahan slam into Frisia, he recalled a similar scene in Cell Saga and hoped Tien Shinhan would become even stronger. The reason Raditz came to visit Tien Shinhan was to make him open a martial arts school and spread martial arts to more people. One reason was to make Earth less ignorant of future situations, another reason was naturally for him to use the spirit bomb. The stronger the people on Earth were, considering the huge population of Earth, even just a small increment in strength was able to bring endless energy to supply the spirit bomb. Right, I need to make sure that Satan doesn't steal the credits. Raditz patted his head. He didn't want people to say, what kind of witchcraft is this? When then contributed some of their energy and then felt weak. Or that they would be unwilling to contribute energy to his spirit bomb. Of course, he wouldn't say no to free money. Especially since he did not even own a single cent. Raditz paid a visit to Papaya Island and asked for the date for the next WMA, World Martial Arts Tournament. The next tournament is on age 767, May 7th, 5 days earlier than the date they would meet up to fight the androids. Raditz paid another visit to Bulma and got a smartphone and set the alarm to remind him to participate in the next WMA. Nappa and Vegeta are just idling. Raditz sensed Nappa and Vegeta's key in Capsule Corp's premises. Little did he know it was due to him taking all the gravity machines that left them with nothing better to do. Well, considering Vegeta's temper, I bet I can trick him into thinking Nappa defected. Raditz smiled. Nappa was a boorish, short-tempered muscle-brain simpleton that acted first before thinking. Raditz was confident in tricking Nappa to cooperate with him in tricking Vegeta without Nappa even realizing it. A golden mustache Super Saiyan Baldi. Raditz imagined how Nappa would look like when he transforms into a Super Saiyan. Of course, it wasn't just because Raditz was curious about how Nappa would look when he transforms into a Super Saiyan that he wanted Nappa to join his side. Since he knew of the Super Saiyan God ritual, he wanted to find 5 righteous Saiyans to help him complete the ritual for him. Goku, Gohan, Nappa, Vegeta. That makes it 4, but who knows when Vegeta can become righteous. So let's count it as 3. That means I need 2 more Saiyans. If Nappa can get married and have a kid. Sounds like a good plan. Then there is Goten, or I could try to have a kid. Raditz muttered. This plan should do. Raditz nodded his head. He would first invite over Nappa to eat and have a talk for old time's sake. Make a few jokes and make Nappa laugh. It would be best if Vegeta was somewhere they could not see, but close enough to quickly notice Nappa and him when they leave in a happy and laughing mood. Then Raditz would bait Nappa to offering to teach him martial arts, the secret to his power. Of course, he would teach very slowly and little so they would have to meet up often and make Vegeta more and more suspicious of Nappa. Thanks to Bulma's generosity, a mouth-watering banquet was prepared in the perfect spot. Once Nappa separated from Vegeta, Raditz quickly met up with Nappa and invited him over for a meal. Nappa salivated from smelling the aromatic dishes and was easily convinced. Raditz led the conversation, talking about the old times, evoking old memories and camaraderie. Sometimes making some jokes and made Nappa laugh in a roaring manner. At the end of the meal, Raditz hinted that for old time's sake, he hinted that he was willing to teach Nappa some martial arts, but only to him. Because their relationship was currently very strained, Raditz had Nappa promise to keep quiet about them meeting for now. Since it might strain his and Vegeta's relations as well. But once their relations eased, he could tell and even teach Vegeta the martial arts he had learned. Nappa easily bought the story and nodded before leaving with a laugh. Vegeta heard Nappa's laughter and shot him a questioning look. Since Nappa did not explain, and Vegeta was too prideful to ask and look like he is petty, Vegeta ended up suppressing the suspicion in his heart. The next day, Nappa went out again without telling Vegeta. He met up with Raditz, and started learning some martial arts. Of course, the first thing Raditz taught Nappa was to temper his spirit. Nappa was just too short-tempered and dumb. Even when he was threatened to not do this or that, once he gets angry, he'll forget the threat and act before thinking. Nappa got really restless and annoyed trying to meditate, and after almost giving up several dozens of times, was finally placated by Raditz's show of might. Raditz had simply said that only by training in martial arts would he be able to acquire the same amount of power as him. Several days passed. Each day Nappa would leave and meet up with Raditz to meditate under his supervision. And each day, Vegeta received no explanation and grew more and more suspicious of Nappa's activities. What kind of dumbass is he? How come he still can't get it down and meditate? This big dumb oaf. Raditz had spent one whole week supervising without Nappa making any progress at all. He still hadn't gotten down the basics by stilling his heart. If Nappa can't even meditate, he can't even begin to temper his spirit. Raditz was already regretting to keep supervising him. Finally, the next day, Raditz sensed Vegeta's ki surreptitiously tailing Nappa. He had finally taken the bait. Raditz, we're not doing martial arts today. Nappa asked. No, you've worked hard this past week. You deserve a rest. Don't push yourself too hard, the mind is more complicated than training your body. Raditz bullshitted. Is that so? But I still haven't made any progress though. Nappa asked. Don't worry, it took me years of training in martial arts to reach my current stage. You're getting too impatient, your mind is too tense. Without easing your mind, you won't gain anything even if you force it. Raditz said and brought Nappa to have a nice meal, make some jokes and made Nappa laugh. A distance away, Vegeta was watching the two enjoy the meal while his body shook in anger. That damn traitor. Vegeta clenched his fists and left in anger. Nappa had never told him anything about meeting up with Raditz. But considering Nappa's suspicious activities for the past week, Vegeta could already deduce that he had been meeting up with Raditz every day. And he had even hidden it from him. Nappa left happily and went back to his room in Capsule Corporation. Raditz was worried that Vegeta might kill Nappa in a fit of anger, but was more than happy to capitalize on it to fully convert Nappa to his side. Raditz silently tailed Nappa. Nappa! You traitor! Vegeta stood outside the door with his arms crossed. What? Vegeta, what are you talking about? Nappa fumbled his words in panic. You think I don't know what you have been doing? I know you've been going behind my back to meet Raditz every day. Vegeta roared. Ah! Vegeta, it's not what you think. Nappa hurriedly waved his hands. Still making excuses. Vegeta raged. I'm only learning martial arts from him. Nappa hurriedly explained. So you joined him in order to learn martial arts? King trash. Just die. Vegeta exploded in anger and blasted a ki wave at Nappa. Holy shit. He really did it. Raditz appeared in front of Nappa and extinguished the ki wave with his huge volume of ki. Raditz. Vegeta gnashed his teeth. Vegeta. Don't you dare destroy this place. Bulma was kind enough to let you live here for free. If you dare cause a mess, I won't hesitate to throw you out in space. Raditz yelled. Raditz finished his speech, grabbed Nappa and dragged him away. Sorry about that. I didn't think Vegeta would react like that. That was also why I didn't want you to tell him about our meeting. Raditz made an apologetic face. I just don't know how he found out. Maybe because we live in the same room. Nappa muttered sadly. Since he had nowhere to stay now, Nappa followed Raditz. And Raditz went to Dr. Brief and took the new gravity chamber he had just finished making, with a disco hall. Neat. I got to say, this disco hall is really useful in gravity training. I've gotten so bored from doing normal sit-ups, push-ups etc. that I've started to dance to the music on my spaceship. Raditz praised before pocketing the gravity chamber capsule. Before Dr. Brief could start blabbering, Raditz grabbed Nappa and hurriedly left. He went to see Bulma, who had finished making a stationary machine that could scan battle power. It was named Battle Power Scanner. Good thing was that everything made in Capsule Corp could be turned into capsules. Raditz pocketed the Battle Power Scanner in its capsule form and said goodbye. Raditz decided to dump Nappa at Tienshin Style Dojo. He got such a headache trying to teach Nappa to meditate and decided to leave the problem to Tien Shinhan and Kaiatsu. And even if Nappa starts rampaging, Tien Shinhan was more than enough to suppress him. Right, I might as well teach Tien Shinhan the Yardratian spirit tempering technique. Raditz had not done any spirit tempering since he left planet Yardrat that he forgot its existence and did not teach Tien Shinhan their spirit tempering technique on his last visit. Raditz grabbed Nappa and teleported to Tien Shinhan. The teleportation fascinated Nappa. Raditz first taught Tien Shinhan the Yardratian spirit tempering technique and hoped he would improve quickly. While Tien Shinhan was feeling endless gratitude, Raditz dumped Nappa to him and simply asked him to take care of Nappa, gave Nappa the gravity chamber before he vanished. Tien Shinhan. Nappa. Both of them were speechless. Meanwhile in Capsule Corporation, Vegeta went to get his gravity chamber, which should be done by today. Is the gravity chamber done yet? Vegeta asked Dr. Brief. Yes, I just finished it today. Dr. Brief said. Great. Bring it to me. Vegeta demanded. Oh, Raditz took it. Dr. Brief said. Raditz. Vegeta roared. Raditz returned to Goku's home. Gohan was making some progress in controlling his Super Saiyan transformation, but it would still take some time before he could transform freely. Being motivated by Gohan's progress, Raditz entered his spaceship and started training in gravity training. Raditz put on some music and turned on the disco ball and started dancing to the music in the disco light while being weighed down by the heavy gravity. After 2 weeks had passed since he set Frisia's spaceship on autopilot, Raditz flew out high up in space and looked for Frisia's spaceship. After spending some time looking and waiting for the ship, Raditz finally spotted it. After he entered the ship, he steered it to land in Capsule Corporation. Luckily, despite the large size of the spaceship, Capsule Corp could easily house the spaceship. Raditz. That big spaceship is. Bulma said in shock. Oh, this is Frisia's spaceship, it got the latest technologies of Frisia Force. Raditz said. Wow. Quick. Quick. Bring me inside. Bulma's eyes were shining. Raditz already had the plan to bring Bulma to the spaceship. He brought her in to have a look around. Thanks to Raditz's help, Bulma had also learned the universal language and could now independently control the spaceship on her own. Can you analyze the liquid in the rejuvenation tank and produce it? Also, please make separate rejuvenation tanks that can be put in capsules. Thanks. Raditz requested. No problem. Just leave it to me. Bulma waved her hand and continued to busily tap the buttons in the control center. Raditz also brought Dr. Brief to check the spaceship. If the spaceship had enough sturdy materials to make a sturdier gravity chamber, Raditz would not need to travel to space and raid Frisia's bases. Raditz went back to Goku's home and resumed his gravity training on his spaceship. Finally, 43 days had passed since the Namekian Dragon Balls were summoned. Gohan knocked on Raditz's spaceship and reminded Raditz about their meeting. Goku, Gohan and Raditz flew to Bulma's house. Although they could have simply teleported over, Goku and Gohan simply liked to take their time and enjoy the whole trip. Raditz, who had spent all his time training in the cramped spaceship, also enjoyed the change in scenery. I can see why they like to fly instead of teleporting. Raditz smiled. Everyone gathered at Bulma's house. Raditz, Goku, Gohan, Tien Shinhan, Kaiatsu, Nappa, Krillin, Master Roshi, Oolong and Puar had come to Bulma's house. Bulma, Vegeta, and all the Namekians had gathered outside the house. They brought out the Namekian Dragon Balls and summoned Porunga. The sky darkened and Porunga, the monster dragon, appeared. So that's the summoning password. Raditz had learned Namekian just for this purpose. He silently etched the password into his memories. Grand Elder Muri spoke the wishes. Since they had used the first wish before, there was only 2 wishes left. First, they wished for Piccolo to be brought to life, then Yamcha. After they finished their wishes, Porunga disappeared and the Namekian Dragon Balls turned into stones but did not scatter. After waiting for a few minutes, Piccolo and Yamcha appeared in front of them. Uncle Piccolo. Gohan cried and ran up to Piccolo and gave him a hug. Piccolo. Raditz went forward and also gave Piccolo a hug. His actions of saving them on planet Namek had deeply moved Raditz. Yamcha-sama. Puar cried and flew into Yamcha's chest. After seeing the magical powers of Namekian Dragon Balls, both Vegeta and Nappa had a fiery look in their eyes. But Raditz doused their flaming desire and explained that the Dragon Balls had limited powers that were limited by their creator's power. It was impossible to wish to become stronger or kill someone stronger than the Dragon Ball's creator. Neither could they wish for immortality, for they would only live for a limitless lifespan and not be affected by natural causes of death. That which is the same as eternal youth. Raditz naturally did not mention that the Super Dragon Balls were capable of granting true immortality though. Tien Shinhan and Nappa stared at Raditz, but Raditz pretended to not see it. Hey, Piccolo. Wanna train with me, Raditz and Gohan? Goku invited. Sounds good to me. Piccolo nodded. Just as everyone was about to split up and go back to their homes, Vegeta stepped up. Hey, midget. Fight me. Vegeta said to Kaiatsu, who looked weakest. Tien Shinhan gave an encouraging look to Kaiatsu. Maybe because there was no Saiyan saga and Vegeta and Nappa had not hurt nor killed his friends, neither Tien Shinhan nor Kaiatsu held much hostility toward Vegeta and Nappa. And ever since Nappa stayed at their school, they had gotten along better. Don't call me midget. Aren't you assured of yourself? Kaiatsu flew forward and glanced at Piccolo, Raditz, and Nappa that were around 2 meters tall and compared to Vegeta who was only 164 centimeters tall. Shut up. Vegeta dashed toward Kaiatsu. Just as Vegeta was about to reach Kaiatsu, Kaiatsu put his arms forward and said, "Stop." Suddenly Vegeta halted his movement, held his stomach and fell to the ground. Saliva splattered from his mouth as he curled up like a shrimp. Kaiatsu had used his telekinesis to cramp Vegeta's stomach. Everyone started laughing from seeing Vegeta's ridiculous appearance. Nappa laughed for a while before noticing his own actions and stopped. He hurriedly asked Kaiatsu to show mercy. What he did not know was that Vegeta already felt so humiliated not only by not even being able to touch Kaiatsu but mostly from everyone laughing as he curled up like a shrimp, felt worse to have his former subordinate ask that little midget to show mercy. Vegeta stomped his foot and flew out of West City. Because everyone had learned from Raditz how evil Vegeta is and the countless innocent lives he had taken, they did not feel sorry for laughing at Vegeta. They had only let him off on the account of future Trunks' request and allowed him to stay on Earth. Nappa had a complicated look on his face as he watched Vegeta disappear into a tiny dot in the distance. After sighing, he followed Tien Shinhan and Kaiatsu back to Tienshin style dojo and also looked at Kaiatsu in a more respectful way. In the past, he had only thought the midget as a mascot of the Tienshin style dojo. Nappa had learned about the androids that would be coming in 3 years' time from Tien Shinhan and Kaiatsu. He was horrified to learn there would be 2 people stronger than Frieza, stronger than the Super Saiyan Gohan who had defeated Frieza, and that mysterious Super Saiyan youth from the future. There was no use overthinking and went back to training. Raditz talked with Bulma and picked up a few rejuvenation tank capsules. Although Bulma had yet to finish analyzing and producing the healing liquid, the tanks had enough healing liquid to be used a few times. Raditz also paid a visit to Dr. Brief. He was still analyzing Frieza's spaceship and had yet to make a sturdier gravity chamber. Raditz grabbed the newly made ordinary gravity chamber and intended to give it to Piccolo. After saying goodbye to the Brief family, Raditz flew back to Goku's home. He caught up to Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo and flew back home together. 130 days passed and the Namekians were going to wish for their planet to be restored to its original state before wishing to relocate themselves back to planet Namek. Raditz, Piccolo, Goku, and Gohan came to see them off. The others also came, it was just Vegeta missing. Because of their similar age, Dend, Cargo, and Gohan got along very well. The 3 of them shed tears and said goodbye. Raditz had a smile on his face as he waved goodbye to all the Namekians. He was happy they formed connections so that in the future he could rely on their help when the need comes. The Namekians disappeared one by one, soon everyone except Piccolo had been relocated back to planet Namek. Uncle Piccolo, how come you decided not to with the other Namekians back to planet Namek? Gohan asked. No major reason. I just can't stand living such a dull and boring life. Piccolo said. Then, let's train harder. Gohan cheered. Naturally. Piccolo smiled. Raditz happily received the new and sturdier gravity chamber from Dr. Brief. Bulma had also finished analyzing the healing liquid and could now produce it. Raditz received a large storage tank filled with healing liquid and took a few more rejuvenation tanks and distributed them to Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, Nappa, and Tien Shinhan. Now they could train more daringly in the gravity chambers. Gohan had made many improvements and can now easily transition between his normal state and Super Saiyan state. Raditz guided Gohan to the next step. The power-stressed forms might give a boost in power in short terms, but there was a dead end. So Raditz guided Gohan to continue staying in his Super Saiyan state daily until he got used to it like breathing. Once Gohan does that he would acquire the mastered Super Saiyan state that was much stronger than Ascended Super Saiyan. The only problem was that Chi-Chi started crying, my sweet little boy has turned into a delinquent. Because Japanese people have black hair, those that bleach their hairs are usually delinquents. But Raditz convinced Chi-Chi that Gohan had foreign blood, Saiyan blood, and his transformation into a Super Saiyan was simply awakening his foreign blood. And there were many foreigners with blonde hair in the Dragon Ball world. So finally, Chi-Chi calmed down and was able to accept Gohan's transformation. It's good that she is able to accept things so early. Because soon, our whole family will start having blonde hair. Raditz smiled. Vegeta did feel a large increase in his strength after training in the gravity chamber. His first generation scouter even broke after he measured his battle power, meaning it exceeded 24,000. But after receiving a new scouter from Bulma, his battle power only measured 43,000 battle power. Although it was a pleasant surprise at first. But once he took a look at Nappa's battle power, his battle power had actually reached over 100,000. Bastard! Vegeta crushed the scouter in anger. After making up his mind, Vegeta flew to the lookout to ask Kami to train him. He could not bring himself to lower himself to a mere earthling. Thus he decided to ask Kami, who was a deity and the creator of the Dragon Balls, who seemed of a higher and more befitting status for him to learn from. Such an evil heart. Please leave, you're not fit to learn my martial arts. Kami said sternly. Bastard! I'm telling you to teach me martial arts. Vegeta demanded. Leave. This place does not welcome you. Kami knocked his staff on the floor. You dare. Teach me martial arts now. Or I'll kill you. Vegeta threatened. Suddenly, Piccolo appeared. Vegeta. Get the hell out of here. Feeling the Vegeta's killing intent directed to Kami, Piccolo did not look friendly. It's you, name Kia dash, Vegeta did not even finish his words before it was interrupted. Piccolo pushed his palm forward, an invisible air shockwave blasted Vegeta off the lookout and sent him hurtling back down to earth. Thank you, Piccolo. Kami said. Don't misunderstand. I didn't do it for you. I just didn't want Vegeta to kill you, which would also kill me. I was only saving myself. Piccolo said before disappearing. The only reason Piccolo did not directly kill Vegeta just now to avenge the Namekians he had killed, was that Goku and Gohan had explained that Vegeta was actually future Trunks' father. Considering that Trunks had come to the past to warn them of the androids, Piccolo decided to let Vegeta live for a while longer. At least until he sees Trunks being born. Bang! Vegeta crashed into a desolate clearing. After recovering, Vegeta crawled out of the huge crater formed by his crash. Damned Namekian! Vegeta cursed. But he was also helpless. The Ki Piccolo casually generated had made him feel the enormous gap between their powers. Facing Piccolo made him feel like he was facing Frieza. Just wait till I learn martial arts. I'll kill you both. Vegeta clenched his fists, his body shaking from anger. Since even a mid-class warrior like Raditz could become so strong, he naturally believed that he, the Saiyan Prince, a super elite, was even more talented and have more potential. Would soon surpass them all. He planned to kill both Kami and Piccolo once he surpassed them. Vegeta went back to train in the gravity chamber. 3 months later, Vegeta had his battle power scanned again. It had increased to 80,000. And that was with the help of the rejuvenation tanks constantly healing him and himself pushing his body to the limit. Cursed Nappa. Vegeta could not accept himself even falling behind Nappa. 3 months ago, Nappa's battle power was already 100,000. Now 3 months after, it must have surely increased even more. Yet, Vegeta had not even reached 100,000 battle power himself. When both of them arrived on Earth, Nappa's battle power was just 6,000, while his was 20,000. Yet Nappa had completely overtaken him. After raging for a while, and having destroyed his courtyard, Vegeta finally calmed down. With great determination, Vegeta lowered his pride and asked Bulma where to find Master Roshi. On a tiny island somewhere in the sea was a small cane house. Vegeta flew down and landed in front of the house. Ehehe. Master Roshi let out a perverted laugh while pressing his face to the TV screen. After Launch found out that Tien Shinhan had founded his own school, she had immediately packed her bag and without leaving a word, left for Tienshin-style dojo. Now, Master Roshi only had his erotic magazines and TV to entertain himself. Damn it. Is this old decrepit man even reliable? Vegeta muttered. Hey, old man. Vegeta came up to Master Roshi. Ehehe. Spread them a bit more. Yes. Just like that. Master Roshi was too focused on the TV to hear Vegeta's voice. Old man. Vegeta kicked away Master Roshi. He did it as gently as possible. It was not that he had turned kinder, but he simply did not have anyone else to turn to. If he accidentally killed his bony old man, he would no longer know where to find a martial arts teacher. Huh? You are. Oh, you're Vegeta, I remember seeing you at Bulma's home. What do you want? Master Roshi looked up and down at Vegeta. I heard you taught Kakarot. Teach me as well. I want to surpass him and Raditz. Vegeta spoke frankly. Ah, you mean Goku? Yes, I taught him since he was a little kid. Master Roshi nodded his head. I can teach you too, but you need to pass my test first. Master Roshi rubbed his hands. Test? I don't need any test. Vegeta said impatiently. Don't be in such a rush, Goku also took the test, and he passed it, but just barely. Master Roshi said. I see, don't worry. I'll definitely pass it with flying colors. Vegeta felt competitive. Alright, I want you to bring me a peachy girl. Master Roshi's face turned perverted. Bitchy. Vegeta looked confused. Ah, right. You're also a Saiyan like Goku. Here, look, I want this kind of girl. Master Roshi patted his head as if he remembered how Goku could not identify a pretty girl. He pulled out an erotic magazine and pointed at the cover. What a vulgar woman! Vegeta exclaimed. The girl on the magazine cover was topless and only covered her breasts with her hands. Yes. Good. You're much better than Goku. Master Roshi said happily, knowing he did not need to educate Vegeta on how to identify pretty girls. What kind of test is this? Since Kakarot also did it, there must be some kind of hidden meaning. Kakarot barely passed. I'll do much better. Vegeta shot into the skies. Vegeta had exterminated numerous natives from all kinds of planets. The natives were like ants to him, capturing a few as slaves were nothing out of the ordinary in space. He did not care if the test was seen as a transaction. He would just grab a slave and hand it over to Master Roshi. After searching for half a day in a city, Vegeta stumbled upon a strip club. Those girls fit the criteria. Vegeta looked at the topless girls pole dancing. With a flushed face, he quickly grabbed the closest blonde pole dancer and flew out of the city. Vegeta arrived at Kame's house with the girl held by the cuff. Oh hee hee. Master Roshi laughed pervertedly as blood started dripping from his nose. Kaya! Kidnapper! The blonde girl screamed. Silence! Vegeta threw the girl on the ground. Vegeta! You can't just kidnap a girl. Why, you're breaking the law. Master Roshi's eyes popped out. Shut up. Old man, I got you the girl. Now, start teaching me. Vegeta demanded. You did not pass the test. You need to bring a girl willingly here. Even Goku passed the test. Shame on you. Master Roshi did not relent. Grr. Kakarot. Vegeta did not like to be compared to a low-class Saiyan. He grabbed the girl and flew back to the city. After throwing the girl on a random street, he began his quest to find a girl willing to stay at Kame house.
If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kaioshin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.